Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this new Rhye album, Home. Rhye are a Toronto-based alternative R&B duo fronted by Mike Maloche. Honestly, their debut album, Woman, excited the hell out of me. This was one of the steamiest, classiest, and just all-around well-produced R&B albums of the year. In so many ways, more ways than one, this was a throwback to some of R&B's greatest hits, but also had a real sleekness to it, a mystique to it, almost, that just made things really exciting. Take that now. Throw it out the window with 2018's Blood. I cannot say the same for this album at all. I was so excited for this album, and tracks like Feel Your Weight moving into this album really excited me. However, the mystique of Rhye was just gone. This actually ended up on my top 10 biggest disappointments of the year list. And let me tell you, I didn't even know that their last album, Spirit, came out until about 2 weeks ago, and listening to it, I'm not really that shocked why. It is forgettable. Which leads me to this new album, Home, and honestly, I was actually kind of curious to check it out, mostly because the singles weren't that bad this time around. However, I do have a lot of consistency errors with Rhye. Their intro to this album isn't anything to shake a stick at. It's very lush, it's very airy, it's fine, it just really doesn't do much for me outside of that. And Coming Closer, which I heard a while back, honestly didn't really sell this album for me either, not very good. It's just very bouncy in a really odd way. Like, there was a sophistication in an odd way to the early days of Rhye's music. Yes, a sophistication, but it's not here. The atmosphere is certainly here, but in a weird way it just seems very flimsy, like it's not real. It just, to me, seems like Rhye is trying way too much. The strings are a nice touch, but let me tell you, there are other tracks on here that use them a lot better. This just doesn't do it for me. Hold You Down is one of the most genuinely annoying tracks here. These classy strings here just seem out of place, and they're really hard to concentrate on. And the goofy, bouncy beat, once again, what the hell is this? Everything about this track, I feel like, is the exact reason why I'm not that into a lot of newer Rhye material. It's so boring, and why is this the longest track here? It does not deserve to be. And I Need a Lover is even more boring. As a matter of fact, remember when I said that I didn't even realize their Spirit album came out? This reminds me of a lot of the material on there, just not offensive and not interesting. And listen, I'm not opposed to Rhye going down for a more stripped down track like this. This ain't it though. However, while I will say this, there are consistency errors with this album, and Rhye continue to play it very safe. However, there are a handful of tracks on here that I think are some of their best in a while now. Beautiful is incredibly smooth. It's really likable as well. It just reminds me of what brought me to their music to begin with. It's very steamy and dense. It just has so much passion. Not only that, it's very patient, which honestly, I respect a lot. There's almost a little bit of mystique brought back here, which is what I originally loved about Rhye. And Safe Word is just straight up groovy. For those of you that think that Rhye's music is a little one-dimensional, check this out. It's upbeat, it's got a little bit of a dance groove, great production, but it's just as steamy, it's full of grooves, those strings, once again, very classy. And I can say a lot of the same things about Helpless. This is just very likable, very light on the ears. For me, I think this is a much more respectable sound for Rhye. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's more mature sounding, a little more grown up, a little bit more sophisticated, like I said. But as far as like a genuinely passionate track goes, this is the best one here. I mean, it's still very light and airy, and if you're not into Rhye's style, this isn't going to win it over for you. But the pacing is top-notch, and there's, once again, some serious grooves. And Black Rain is honestly the track that made me want to check this album out. It's very refreshing. It almost has like a new disco feel to it. It brightens up this album so nicely, so lively. I needed this right now. Something to break up the album that really didn't take away from just how steamy everything is. And that just makes for a really killer track that's ready for the dance floor. This is great. And Swedish Revenge, too, honestly, has a lot of going for it. It's actually one of the darker tracks that Rhye produced. It's actually a little dangerous sounding at times, which is a really interesting element to their music. It almost, brings me back to like the early days of what The Weeknd was doing when he was this sort of tortured lover figure. The bass line is slick, the strings continue to be very, very classy. See, there are some interesting sounds here, but Rhye need to stay focused because they do end up kind of losing me with the finale here. My Heart Bleeds isn't bad, it's just painfully average. I mean, I love the sort of quiet storm atmosphere we get here and the silky instrumentals, that's fine. I will say this though, the vocals here are absolutely meltingly passionate and awesome. But Fire is absolutely the worst thing here. It is laughable. This track just plods along. It is so incredibly boring. Like, the thoughts of this track being remotely sexy is laughable. And Holy once again shows Rhye trying way too hard to be like cool and hip, and I don't know why. They were doing just fine before by being themselves. The result is just very sloppy and sounds like 6 different sounds coming together at once. The beat is just dime a dozen, and lyrically, we've entered the realm of we've been here before, haven't we? And the outro isn't an awful instrumental, it just, it doesn't really bring me one way or another. And, there are some cool production moments here, it's pleasant, but it doesn't really sway me, and it doesn't win this album over for me. So overall, I will say this. I think this is the most enjoyable thing that Rhye has done since Woman. A handful of the singles are some of their best in years, and they are taking some risks here and sounding less cheesy than usual. But consistency is a problem still, and them trying way too hard is a problem still. I'm feeling a decent to strong 6 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.